Oh hi, this is my MTV Crib. No, I'm just kidding. It's my kitchen. So I think that it's important that you guys know that everything I do in this series is meant for comedic purposes. So when I make pate with water and a rubber whisk, don't think I'm actually making pate. Don't follow the recipe. It's not actual pate. It is water and a rubber whisk. Got that? Okay, now I think there's one other thing that needs to be addressed. When I make an hors d'oeuvre, that's apples and peanut butter, and they're all cut to the wrong size. It's not an hors d'oeuvre. That's a very high-class dish known as apples and peanut butter. It was served to me back in elementary school by my mother. God rest her soul. She's not dead. She just doesn't make them for me anymore. So, I hope you guys enjoy this show. Stay cheesy. Till next time on Understanding Ingredients and Qualities 101.
Oh, hey! I didn't see you there! Welcome to the first of 9 installments in my new web show, Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities. So today we're going to start by talking about one of the most important things for a chef, plating. Now, the old school style of cooking uses a plating technique called the clock. Now, I think personally that the clock is a very stupid way to plate something. So what you're going to have is you're going to have the protein at the 6, okay, because everyone wants to eat the protein. You have the protein facing you, the customer. Now you have your veggies over here. Well, this would normally be the 1, but I didn't have much ketchup. You would have the veggies here and the starches here at the 9, also not much ketchup. And at the 12, that's where you would carry the plate from. So you would deliver it to the customer like that. Now, kind of seems messy, but that's the way people liked it. I personally love the modernist style of plating, which is when you just chaotically put things all over a plate and you use a little bit of molecular gastronomy when you're plating, but I think that's a little tough to do for a new chef. Okay? So it's not much, but it's an honest living. Oh, looks like we're done. So, in class, we talked about shift. Now, shift is not S-H-I-F-T. In the culinary world, shift is S-C-H-I-F-T, which is shape, color, height, flavor, items. Oh, that's an odd one. And then T, which is texture, right? I did not spell that right, I don't think. But, anyways, the point I'm trying to get across is that the S, C, H, F, and T are obvious, shape, it's how the food looks. The color, what color is the food. The height, it's tall, it's short. Either way, it looks appealing. And flavor, how's it taste? Now texture, come on, mouthfeel. It's great. You gotta have it. Now, where it gets tricky is with the I. The I means items, and in the culinary world, items means how many moves it takes to assemble the plate. So if you have, a nice plate of pasta with some parsley on top, you have taking the pasta, putting it onto the plate, dressing it with the sauce if it's not already dressed, sprinkling some parsley, and taking it out to the customer. That's what, like 4 moves? That's easy to, replicate for a mass production of them. Like say you have 200 guests, you can easily do that over and over again. But if you have 200 guests and your plate is like some fancy salmon whatever, and you have like, you gotta make a sea swoop of sauce, and then you put the salmon on top, and it's beautiful with some dill sauce. Oh, that would be so good. But, that's like 8 moves. You can't do that because you're gonna have 200 dishes where you have to do it 8 times to make the plate done. Someone's gonna mess up somewhere, right? It's all a matter of how easy it is to make the dish over and over again. So, after learning this, I thought, okay, that's cool. Shift is very useful. But then our chef taught us about the danger zone. That's pretty cool, right? The danger zone is the temperature at which you can't store food for longer than 2 to 4 hours. Now, this zone is between 4 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So, this temperature zone is hot foods must be kept hotter than 140 degrees Fahrenheit to stop bacteria growth, and they must be kept lower then 40 degrees Fahrenheit to stop bacteria growth. Now, if you have, say you have a nice pasta salad, it's cold, right? If you keep it at room temperature for like 5 hours and you eat it, it's gonna taste off. Like, you don't want to eat that. It's like it's like eating some dirt. It tastes earthy because it's all moldy and nasty, right? Yuck. Now, oh crap. Well, that's all the time we have for today. So I'll see you next time on Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. Welcome back, everyone. As you know, this is installment number 2 of 9 in my Understanding Ingredients and Their Quality 101. Now, today we will be covering the spectacular world of hors d'oeuvres. Not hors d'oeuvres, hors d'oeuvres. Now, when you go to a party, there's usually like chips and dip, some Doritos, some of the good stuff, but that's not the kind of hors d'oeuvres I'm talking about. I'm talking about some fancy, like, little shrimp biscuit you can pop in your mouth and you're done, No wrapper, no mess, clean. That's what I want to talk about today. So, I will be covering some higher tier hors d'oeuvres today, and I'll also be making one as well. So, get ready. Let's talk terms, shall we? There are a couple important terms when it comes to hors d'oeuvres. Top 3 important ones are, hors d'oeuvres. It's important. It's 1 to 2 small bite items. They're served before dinner, for some, let's say, rich people. Nobody goes to these things when you're kind of living off ramen noodles, right? Next term is amuse-bouche. It literally means entertain the mouth. So it basically means that when you eat it, you're happy about it. So the final term is wets. What it means is it appeases the appetite. It makes you hungry for more, right? So when you go to a good, cocktail party, which is a social gathering where you just walk around with your friends, your wealthy friends who's got daddy's money, you whet the appetite with some amuse-bouche, and then you move on to some hors d'oeuvres. Now, amuse-bouche are also, like the chef's picks. Chef thinks they're fantastic, so you should think they're fantastic. Now, at a cocktail party, you don't want wrappers or plates, because when you do, people are just going to carry them around. They're going to walk around like this, Hey, where's the garbage? Where's the garbage? Where's the garbage, right? Can't find it. What's the point? Just don't have wrappers. And if you do have wrappers or little sticks for like Capri skewers, fantastic, by the way, you need a garbage nearby. Because if you don't, people are just going to throw it on the floor. So don't do that. Now, the main thing about hors d'oeuvres is consistency. You don't want, a piece of apple cut like this and a piece of apple cut like this. Because if you do, people are going to be like, what the heck is that? Like they mess up somewhere? Because I wouldn't want to eat that, because it looks like there was no time put into it. It doesn't look created. It looks store-bought. It doesn't whet my appetite. Okay? But when I do eat an hors d'oeuvre, I would like it to have flavor, right? A lot of flavor. Some big flavor. Some good salty, some great savory, some fantastic, some crunch. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Now, with the crunch, you get texture. With the flavor, you get flavor. With the shape of the food, that's important too. Because if you don't have shape, you don't have anything. Other than that, hors d'oeuvres are pretty important. Like, if you don't have hors d'oeuvres, your cocktail party is gonna suck. It's the truth. So,
Thank you.
Now, I guess to wrap it all up, I think that we should talk about something that you've probably been wondering. Why do people have these hors d'oeuvre parties? Like these cocktail parties. I'm glad. So, these cocktail parties, they're mostly meant to gather with your friends and socialize. You don't sit down, you just talk and reconnect with people. Because once you lose the bond between people, can you really call yourself friends? You can't, that's what happened in grade school, I got kicked out of the guy group, and then I hung out with the girls, and, I became a player, but it's not a nice life, it's tough. you gotta keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Now the enemies being the capitalist government, but no, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So hors d'oeuvres, all in all, they're handy, taste good, be consistent, be clean. Oh, and you gotta keep the plates clean, because if you don't keep the plates clean, they're not gonna look good. You don't want to eat them if they're dirty, right? Anyways, that's I want to go eat this, so that's all I have for today. See you guys next time on Understanding Ingredients and Their Quality 101. Welcome back, everyone. This is installment 3 of 9 installments in my Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. So, today we'll be entering the fascinating world of charcuterie. You know, it sounded like something James Bond would say, you know, charcuterie, right? You know, or Sean Connery. Ooh, that would be cool. So, the basic definition of charcuterie is, you know, a culinary specialty that uses, you know, pork, kind of gross, maybe even beef sometimes, not usually, but sometimes, you know, and it can be salami, sausages, prosciutto, you know, pate, a bunch of weird stuff like that. You know, nothing too good except for the sausages. You know, salami's good too, but not much. So let's talk about some dishes. We have pate, which is the most disgusting thing on the planet. Basically, you take some chicken liver and you just, and then it's all paste, right? And then you just chill it and eat it. It's disgusting. You know, why would you want to eat chicken liver? It tastes like iron. You know, like you ever gotten blood in your mouth when you lose a tooth? It tastes like that, except you're eating it intentionally. It's disgusting. So we also have a terrine. It's made of minced meat, usually you know, packed into a rectangular dish. We have rillettes, which is like oh god, it's so gross. It's a spread that goes on bread and is made of like goose and you know, duck, pork, really nasty stuff. And then we have boudin, which is, oh god, it means pudding. It's a sausage that has the texture of pudding. Why? Like, there's just no point. It's disgusting. But basically, you season it with cognac and spices. But here's the worst part: you take the meat and you mix it with milk. Milk. It's disgusting. Now, so what you're going to do is make something called a panada. Now, the panada is basically, you know, it's breadcrumbs. You know, some other ingredients. We're not going to name them at this time because it's a family secret. But this panada, you use it in like a meatloaf. You put it in the meatloaf and it stops the juices from, you know, leaving the meatloaf. It keeps it all juicy and tender inside. It's really useful. It's often used in, you know, meatloaf. It can be used in meatballs. Some other dishes, like anything you puree meat for. You know, it's really good. But other than that, not much to talk about when it comes to charcuterie, except for the fact that cheese, not charcuterie. People put it on a charcuterie board, but it's not charcuterie. Fish, get out of here. It's not charcuterie. That's fish. You know, charcuterie is strictly meat. You know, even though you can say fish is a meat, no, it's not. Fish is some slimy thing you found in a pond. You know, it doesn't belong on a board with some sausage like real meat. Okay, so don't put it there. Now, with panada, they can also be, you know, like a roux. I just thought I'd add that in because why would you want to put a roux in your meatloaf? But the only the cooking style in this charcuterie, it's important, but the main thing is what ingredients you use. The ingredients have to be fresh. They have to be cooked to a certain, you know, degree. They have to be aged, flavored, and everything. But most of the time, it's with pigs. Pork meat is really good in charcuterie. You have, you know, pig leg, prosciutto, you know, you got capicola, you know, you got, what else do you have? You got nidja, which is some kind of smoked sausage made from everything in a pig, you know, but it's crazy. There's a lot of different things, and if you don't know what meat you're using, you're going to get the wrong product, right? So you got to make sure that with the flavor, the texture, the cooking style, the time you cook it for, the time you age it for, you got to make sure everything is precise. Because if it's not, it's going to end up poorly. So that's about it for charcuterie. I mean, it's not really much else to talk about. It's kind of more like science than it is cooking. So I guess I'll leave you guys with that for today. If you're looking for more, you can go online. The internet's a thing, so use it. But yeah, until next time on Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. Hey guys, welcome back to the 4th installment of the 9-part series known as Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. So today we're going to talk about cheese. You know, it's some good stuff. I love cheese personally. You know, some nice, aged cheddar. Woo. Put that with some nice Triscuits. That's all I need. Did you know that you can make cheese from the milk of reindeers, moose, donkeys, horses, alpaca, and camels? I wouldn't want to eat it, but you can. It's kind of gross. But enough of the fun stuff. Let's talk about some information. So did you know that if you leave cheese out for a period of time and let it get to room temperature, it'll, number one, get softer, creamier, and it'll enhance its flavor. Because if you serve it at room temperature, the flavor of the cheese is better. So don't serve cold cheese. Your guests will hate it. You gotta serve it room temperature. Now, the 2% on 2% milk represents the fat content in the milk by weight. It's not, this milk bag is 2% fat. It's, the milk itself weighs, if the weight of the milk, 2% of the total weight, right? Anyways, so some science now. Cheese is made by curdling milk. Ew. But in order to get some nice, good cheese, you need these curds. So this is done on purpose using, some nasty stuff to make it curdle. It's not like when you come downstairs after forgetting the milk has been in the fridge for a month on 7 a.m. before school, and you take a sip and you can chew your milk and then you splooge into the sink and it's nothing like that. This is done on purpose, and it's done in factories. They take the milk, they pour it into some huge vats, and then they add a starter culture of bacteria. Now this is where it gets crazy. It converts the lactose in the milk to lactic acid. Okay, so this starts the curdling process. Now, then they add an enzyme called rennet. Now this rennet curdles the milk, and then once it's curdled, you cut the curd, stir the curd, cook and wash the curd, then you drain it, and then you're done. Except you gotta salt it, age it, make it all tasty, and some good cheese. I would eat those curds just by themselves. Now, at the same time, cheese can be dangerous for your health. If you eat too much of it, the amount of concentrated fat density inside the cheese, it's not good for you. So don't go eating like a whole block of cheese at 3 in the morning after you've had a good cry fest after the first breakup with your girlfriend. Don't do it. It's not worth it. She's not worth it, man. Bring. Oh, hello? Cheese farmers of Canada. You need my help? A farmer has fallen into the curds and needs to be eaten out? I'll be right over. Gotta go. Until next time on Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the 5th installment of my 9-part series known as Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. It's a great series, you're gonna love it. Just binge watch it all. So, we all love a good buffet, right? You go in, say the Mandarin. Oh, great place. You go in and you got your chicken balls, chicken fried rice, you got your kung pao chicken or whatever it's called, some spicy food, some wonton soup. That's great, but what they don't tell you is that there's steak. You ever seen steak at the Mandarin? Not unless you've gone all the way to the back searching for it. It's all the way at the very back. You know why? Because at a buffet, you gotta put the expensive stuff at the back. You gotta keep it far away from the hungry man's view, because if, say someone like me walked into a buffet, I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna be, oh, steak? Yeah, I don't mind if I do. And then they put one on, this one. They look at you and they smile, and then you're like, they just keep going. And eventually you can't even hold the plate through the window. You gotta plate's so heavy, it's got like 20 pieces of steak on it. But you're allowed to do it. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet. I'm gonna eat what I want to eat for $100 and whatever bucks.
I like my food. Now, in class, we learned about buffets, and to learn, we had Chef Nathan, who was our sub at the time, teach us in the form of a hands-on experience. There were 2 teams, and on each team there was like 30 people. God, it was ridiculous. But we all stood there, and we had this table laid out in front of us, and we had to, number one, dress it. So we had to put the tablecloth on it. You know, we had to put the flowers and the, you know, everything, like the utensils and everything on it, and then we had to put, you know, the dishes in order. And people were like, "Oh, let's put the steak at the front. People love steak." And I'm like, "You fool! You can't. Steak doesn't go at the front. Steak goes at the back. It's common sense. You know, why would I put, you know, my $1 million jewels that are on sale for $25 at the very front of the table? You know, I want the people to buy the crummy silver necklaces until they've already spent like thousands of dollars, and then they see the dollars, like the jewels, and they're like, oh crap, I should have got the diamonds. You know? But they don't. They get all their starches, they get all their veggies, they get full on starch and veggie, and then they can't eat all their steak. So I save money, right? Wrong. As long as it's been out there, if people can touch it, you can't serve it again. As long as it's been touched by other people, you know, you don't know what's in it. It could have, you know, allergens. It could have so much spit in it. You know, you could find a hair in it. That's nasty. You don't want that. So, the number one problem with buffets, it's expensive. You know, you got to put in some amount of food, and either way, you're either going to sell it all. Great, you sold out. You know, you've made money. But if you don't sell it all and you come back with half your food for the day, you're losing money. You're losing tons of money. Because it's all been touched, you can't serve it again. It's a waste of money. So you gotta hope that people want what you're serving. So you gotta work with your clientele, find out what they want, and make sure you're serving the right stuff. Now, the also big problem with buffets is that you can't please everyone. You know, if you're gonna have, you know, Italian food on your buffet, great. Some people who love Italian food are gonna be like, awesome, but what about the people who love Thai food? Unless you have Thai food, they're not going to be happy. They're going to be like, I paid $40 for some mediocre spaghetti. Are you kidding me? You know, they don't want that. You can't please everyone, and it's not good. So, the other huge problem is that, you know, it's, I hate to say it, but there's different styles of buffet. There's always going to be competition with other, you know, buffet companies. There's the one-hit buffets where you just walk through once. I mean, you can go through again, but God bless you if you can find another plate. They take your plate the second you're done eating, you know? You slurp that last noodle, it's gone. Plate's gone. There's the, you know, 3-course buffet, like at a wedding, where you get your appetizers, you know? Go in, get your appetizers, you get all settled down, and then before you know it, everyone's gone up, they've taken their appetizers, and then they take the buffet away. And you're like, I want more Hispanic pita. You know, where's my Hispanic pita? And you can't request it because they've already put it away. It's kind of crap in my opinion. And then they've got the mains, like the steak, the chicken, the bacon. Oh God, it's so good. But then, what's next? The desserts. And when the desserts come, the second the last person sits down. And you don't get any more beef. No more beef, no more happiness, right? And then you get your desserts. And what do they have? They have like a ice cream bar. Nobody wants an ice cream bar. Everybody wants their steak back. But you can't have your steak back. It's already gone. So, in the end, buffets are good, but they gotta be run properly. If they're not, you're gonna lose money and your customers are gonna hate you. It's just a matter of life. Now, as I've already talked about buffets, I think we should talk about something important. When it comes to food, you need to have ethically sourced food. And a company called Chipotle is doing that. It's a fantastic, you know, company. They have ethically sourced food. They have fantastic burritos. Oh my God. We had a buffet in class. It was so good. They started off with, you know, a small company. The guy started for $75,000 and now it's worth like billions. It's crazy. McDonald's tried to buy them out, but they were like, heck no. So now they're a huge company with like 400 different locations in America. They even have some in Canada. And they're all ethically sourced food. They use local farmers. They use proper slaughter mechanisms and everything to keep the animals happy and healthy until the day they're, you know, killed for food. And when they do arrive, it's all fresh. It's all nice. You know, it's ethical. And they've started to inspire other companies like McDonald's. They started to use them for potatoes. You know, their potatoes are great. They're fantastic because they need them for, you know, their burritos. But in the end, I think what Chipotle started is fantastic for the food world, as it's
starting to source food better. It's ethical. It's good. So yeah, that's my bit for today. Until next time on Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. Now, honestly, what I'm about to talk about, we should have covered at the very start. It's kind of important, but well, let's get right into it. Welcome back to installment number 6 of the 9-part food series, Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. So, in class, we covered how important it is, food safety. Food safety is kind of really important when it comes to, keeping things safe. If you don't have safe food, you kill people. It's not a good thing. If you kill someone, that's bad. Because you killed someone. It's against the law. But did you know that before August of 2012, food companies could put the allergens that are inside a food label at the very bottom in fine print? They could put, oh, this has fish in it at the very bottom. So you would have, all this stuff that looks healthy, and then you don't see the fact that there's fish in it, and then you're dead. Because some company was like, hey, bada boom, bada bing, I don't want to print it big. It costs money. It's kind of scummy, right? I think it's awful. So glad that change got made. But they eventually changed it, and now you have to put it first. And it has to be visible at first glance. Which is, it's better than where it was at the very bottom of a food label. It's kind of stupid. So, I think that another part of food safety is what's in your food. You got to know what comes in everything, about the allergens, that's important. But knowing what each ingredient is, like some hypothalate, you know what that is? I don't. Some chemical, find it on the periodic table, number 70 or something. I don't know, it's crazy. But there are 10 genetically modified foods that you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't think they're genetically modified. Here, I'm going to tell you some. We got corn, soy, papaya, really? Come on. Rice, canola oil. Genetically modified. Why? Potatoes, tomatoes, milk, cheese, and peas. Peas. Why peas? Nobody eats peas. Peas are nasty. They don't belong in anything. They don't belong on the plate. They don't belong, under my foot. They belong in the garbage. They don't deserve to be foods. Anyways, that's kind of gross. You don't know what's in your food nowadays. You don't know how they're genetically modified. You don't know where they come from. It says, came from Canada, but you don't know why. They're not native to Canada. Why are they grown in Canada? But let's talk about something different. Have you ever had food and you're like, this tastes good. Oh, what's that in my food? And it's a bone and you're having soup? You ever had a bone in your soup? Now that's not food safe. You're going to choke on that and someone's going to die. Once again, dying's bad. If you kill someone, they die and it's not good. You don't want to kill people. It's against the law. Okay? Your restaurant's going to get shut down because somebody doesn't know how to debone a turkey. You want that? You want to be the idiot who doesn't know how to debone a turkey? I don't. Last time I deboned a turkey, I was like, yeah. And then we went to go eat it and I was like, crunch. Not good. You don't want to crunch on a turkey bone. It's just gross. Oh, it's like Harry Potter's. It's time to go. I'll talk to you guys later. See you next time on Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. Alrighty, time for some seafood. Welcome back to Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. Well, while I fish for my dinner, I think we should talk about some of the heavier stuff. So, in order to prepare any kind of meat, the animal, of course, has to be slaughtered. It's something awful, but at the same time, we need our food, and the animals provide it, and it's best to do it in the most humane way possible. Now, since we're talking about fish, I figured it was best to talk about shellfish and fish at the same time. So, in order to kill a shellfish, you need to stun it first, and by that I mean you have to put it in the freezer for a bit. Now, the fish will get stunned, and it'll feel nothing. It'll be absolutely numb because of the cold temperature. So, after that, you need to either spike it or split it, which is when you just quickly to the head to kill the shellfish and keep the meat intact. Because when you boil it, it gets all chewy, and nobody wants chewy lobster. I'm sorry, Grandma. Now, I know it seems harsh, but for fish, it's the same way. You take the fish, you catch it, put it in the freezer to numb it, and then you have to spike it. Now, with fish, it's a little different because they use something called EKG. So what it is it's when they use a knife to instantly, kill the fish, and it's done and over with. It keeps the meat, good, doesn't spoil it with blood, it keeps it fresh. I know it sounds awful, but it's all part of life. Okay, enough with the heavy stuff. Let's talk about facts. So, shellfish, they're nutritious foods. They have shells. They can be, with two pairs, like two shells. It's called a bivalve. I thought I got a bite. It could have a single shell, which is called a univalve. There are different counts when purchasing shellfish. Also, it's if you see it 16, it means that there's 16 pieces in a pound. Rule of thumb is you want to buy lower number because it just means that there's more weight to each shrimp, meaning there's more nutrition from it. Now, to store the shellfish, you need to refrigerate all the product as soon as you get it. It needs to be below 4 degrees Celsius at all times. If it's not, it'll spoil right away. So for fish, it's the same process to store them. Keep it below 4 degrees, keep it on some ice, keep it nice and fresh, stop the smell from coming in, everything like that. And there are two different kinds of fish. Of course, there's bivalve and univalve for shellfish. But for fish, there's roundfish and flatfish. Roundfish are cylindrical in shape. They come in 2 fillets. There's salmon, trout, snapper, cod, and tuna. And then flatfish are lean and have a firm, delicate flesh texture. They come in like 2 to 4 fillets. There's flounder, sole, halibut, and turbot. Raw fish is highly perishable, so you got to make sure you maintain it properly. Because if you don't, customers aren't happy and the food's not fresh, which is gross. So when you're storing fish, you got to keep it all in a nice drip tray to stop any dripping. Keep the ice on top of the drip tray. Keep it nice and clean. Oh, I got a bite. Time for dinner. See you next time on Understanding Ingredients and Quality. Welcome one and all to the final installment of the 9-part series known as Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101. Whew, that was a mouthful. This is Rocket Raccoon.
And I'm Parker Heil. Thought I'd introduce myself.
So, today, we're going to talk about different diets. Oh boy. So, meeting your dietary needs is something important for every person to do, I'll eat it later. So to start off, I should fill you in on a secret. You don't need to eat meat to survive. What? Crazy, right? There's people who live without eating meat. Now, I can't go a day without eating some kind of meat. If I don't eat meat, who am I? If you don't have steak, are you truly happy? Is your existence necessary if you're not eating meat? Well, yes, it is. There's so many awesome vegetarian diets and vegan diets and crazy stuff, and they're all healthy. In fact, there's even an argument that some athletes that are vegetarian-based or even plant-based are better athletes than meat-based protein athletes. Now, I know that kind of sounds crazy, how can some dude who eats iceberg lettuce breakfast, lunch, and dinner beat some guy who's been eating a whole gazelle every morning for breakfast, right? They can't, but they can, right? Some scientists have proven that if you eat strictly plant-based protein, you will have less fat in your blood. Your fat levels in your blood are way lower, which means more oxygen can pump through without it being clogged up by the fat in there. So, if all it took was a little bit of grass for me to be, I'd eat grass. Don't mind me. I'll just be in the front yard and mowing the lawn. Call me vegan. Now, I think we should talk about some of the different diets. Me just saying that there's vegetarian and vegan, that's not going to help you because it's hard to go vegetarian. You can't just cut out steak, right? It's tough. But there are different diets you can try. Let's go through them. We have vegetarians. They don't eat meat and they try to avoid food byproducts of slaughter, right? So they don't want to eat, bacon grease. It's a bad example, but it works. Now, the fruitarians, that is kind of stupid in my opinion. Why would you just want to eat fruit for the rest of your life? Kind of dumb, but it is what it is. Now there's the lacto-vegetarianism, which is a vegetarian diet that includes certain types of dairy, excludes eggs, and foods containing animal rennet, which is, once again, an enzyme, as I covered back in my charcuterie episode. Go check it out. I make pate, pretty great. This diet without the the lacto-vegetarianism, it's often followed by people who are Hindu, they're Sikh, and they follow Jainism, which is all these religions use the principle of ahimsa, which is non-harming. It's pretty cool. You should look it up. It's some fascinating stuff. Now, other than these three, God forbid there be only three. There's ovo-vegetarianism, which includes eggs, no dairy, only eggs. Ovo-lacto-vegetarianism, get this, eggs and dairy. Crazy. And then we have vegan. Anything made by animals or comes from animals in any way, it's a no-no. Don't go for it. Including animal-tested items, so like lipstick that's practiced on cows to make them beautiful. You don't want them. You got eyeliner that comes from chickens. Nope. Big no. And then they have semi-vegetarian. This is where it gets it's doable. They sometimes eat meat. So they're vegetarian-ish. No. Not really, but they still eat meat, so it's okay. I'll forgive them. There's pescatarian, where they eat only fish and no meats. Plant-based, and it's a diet in which animal products do not form a large proportion of their diet. Yeah, so it's usually fully vegetarian, but they sometimes eat meat. Who would have thought? Plant-based, it doesn't have meat in it. You hear meat anywhere in plant-based? I don't. Why is there meat? And then there's politarian, which they eat only poultry. It's probably pronounced politarian, honestly. Who cares? No mammal meat, though. Only chicken and duck and goose and pheasant and people in horror movies. Penguins, probably, because they're kind of birds would count. Puffins, seagulls, crows, herons, storks, where the babies come from. They honestly probably eat hummingbirds too. Taking. I mean, why not? If you're just gonna only eat poultry, might as well become a monster. Where's your veggies? Can't just eat poultry. There's pescatarian. Where they only eat poultry and fish. Why do they only eat poultry and fish? It's like, why not just eat a seabird? It's the same thing. Anyways, there's a ton of different diets. It's kind of stupid. But if one isn't working for you, why not pick a new one? If you've strictly been eating cornflakes out of a box for the past 25 years, like one of those strange eating habits on TLC or whatever it's called, change it up. Eat some corn pops. Bada boom, bada bing. Switch it up. Try some oatmeal. Oatmeal's good for you. But these diets are hard to follow, so certain foods need to have labels on them, right? So food labels are kind of necessary for these kind of diets. There's the gluten, the egg, the sugar, the GMO, nuts, dairy, nitrates, trans fats, and cholesterol-free labels were made to help people on these diets. Because if you haven't been eating meat for like 3 years, and you go and take a bite of a hamburger, you're going to be like, oh. Then you're going to get the meat sweats. You don't want the meat sweats. Why would you want the meat sweats? It's not something you want. But, yeah. I think that's pretty important to have. Labels are helpful. Like, if you have a heart condition and you can't have much cholesterol, eat your cholesterol-free Cheerios, It's going to help you. It's going to save you in the long run. Even if it's only something little, it'll help. Now, the final thing I would like to cover on the show is halal. I've received a couple questions over the email because you guys have been blowing on my email with the amount of people that watch this thing. My mom, my dad, and my brother. Oh, my grandma, yeah. She said she watched it. And my
That's it. What's his face? Oh, Chef Olaf. He's gonna watch these. Yeah, that'll be good. He'll probably send me a couple questions like, what's the cake for? Why is the raccoon in there? But yeah, I like to cover halal. Halal is, it's very important, and there are 7 facts about it that I would like to share. Here we go. So the animals that are used in halal must have open space to graze, and they must have wholesome food that they're fed. So they must be taken care of, and they must live a good life. It's very important. Number 2, all seafood is halal. So anything that comes from the ocean, or even a lake, it's halal. Number 3, all animals are slaughtered in accordance to Islamic law. This is very important because if it's broken, there's massive problems. Everyone, they're so strict by it that there's recordings or security guards at every slaughterhouse, everything. It's pretty crazy. So all animals, they cannot be eaten if they die in a prohibited way or of natural causes. So if, say your pet cow dies, he ate he ate too much grass, except there's actually turf in your backyard because you don't have grass anymore. And your pet cow eats the turf and forgets that it's not actually grass. And your pet cow dies. You can't eat him because you didn't kill him. You didn't give him a blessed life, and he passed away from stupidity is a natural cause. It counts. But now, number 5, the majority of the animals must have their blood drained. And finally, the slaughter knife, it must be blessed with an Islamic prayer, and the blade must be sharp, and the animal must never see it. This is vital. And then finally, the animal must be dealt with kindly. You must treat the animal with respect. So, that's all I have to say. It's been nice talking to everyone, even though it's just been me for the past 4 hours talking. Yeah, that's the end of my show. Hope you enjoyed the series. Till next time, this has been Understanding Ingredients and Their Qualities 101.